Advanced English Arabic Learning Session 100. Surgeons operated on his jaw yesterday morning. He's happy with the way the deal panned out. Everyone was keen at first, but the enthusiasm petered out. The storm had petered out. The rising was never finally crushed, it simply petered out. A provisional employee has no status or rights to employment. Employees who are provisionally appointed may continue in the position. A provisional appointment may be made when there are no candidates on a register. The words were scribbled in pencil. Jane has turned into a regular mouse potato. Her lack of wireless is really holding her back from becoming a full-fledged mouse potato. They are couch potatoes and need little real exercise. A couch potato is a person who spends a lot of time watching television. You've got to pull yourself together and find a job. I just couldn't wrap my mind around what had happened. I can't wrap my head around the fact that he got fired. Don't worry about me, I have wrapped my head around that a long time ago. I'm trying to wrap my head around Bitcoin. If you're confused, join the club. If you don't understand the rules, join the club, no one else does either. Yet, join the club. I hardly got any sleep night either. Join the club. Man, I think Alan is such a douche. You've complained long enough. It's time to put up or shut up. They called for the minister to either put up or shut up. It is time to put up or shut up. I can't put up with his insolence. Annie, hit me up if you're reading this. They hit me up pretty much every day. A lot of people have hit me up actually about it. They hit me up for money. Apply a cold compress. Her face compressed into a frown. Viola compressed her lips together grimly. Place the homemade compress on your skin. The evening heat was stifling. Anne danced with the captain at a fancy dress ball. The number of people learning ballroom has doubled in the last 2 years. They wear a frozen smile on their faces. The students wore their hair long. She wore her perfume. They wanted a lot of money with no strings attached. My parents gave me use of their car without any strings attached. No strings attached relationships are arrangements that don't require affection or monogamy. In auto racing, the pits are the areas at the side of the track where drivers stop to get more fuel and to repair their cars. He moved quickly into the pits and climbed rapidly out of the car. Currently, just the 4 tires require changing during a pit stop. In motorsports, a pit stop is a pause for refueling and change tires. He pitted out in the 20th lap. A sudden death playoff was required to settle the tournament. Sudden death is the most common playoff format in stroke play tournaments. The man who can putt is a match for anyone. They were no match for the mercenaries. He was an unsuitable match for any of their girls. He was runner-up in the 200m individual medley 200. Almost all criminal convictions are the result of a plea bargain. She plucked a blade of grass. A female firefly, perched on a blade of grass. A leaf in the grass consists of a blade, a collar, and a sheath. The turkeys are plucked and cleaned by machine. The baby was plucked from a grim orphanage. A plump of ducks rose at the same time. A pony of vodka. He ponied up $100 for the project. As well as putting up his own cash, he persuaded others to pony up. I spent hours poring over cookery books. Spoil yourself with a new perfume this summer. I'm going to spoil myself tonight with a good movie. Rack off, mate, or you're going to cop it, he bellowed. They don't just beat you, they rub it in. In the early morning, squads of workers rake the beach. Her fingers raked Bill's face. She raked a comb through her hair. The road was raked with machine gun fire. No point in raking over old coals, opening old sores. The coach hauled him over the coals for missing practice. Don't spend so much time raking over the past. I was raked over the coals by my boss last week for messing up the accounting software. I know Mary messed up, but don't rake her over the coals too hard for it. The event was reckoned a failure. In college he was always reckoned among the brainiest. He reckons that the army should pull out entirely. The trade unions were a political force to be reckoned with. What do you reckon on this place? She asked. We put on the record player and danced reels. The reel is indigenous to Scotland. He punched him in the ear, sending him reeling. They walked arm in arm. I walked hand in hand with my father. She had the confidence that usually goes hand in hand with experience. The two reeled out of the bar arm in arm. The Prime Minister was reeling from a savaging inflicted in the Commons. My grandmother often reeled off one story after another. She reeled off the titles of a dozen or so of the novels. She immediately reeled off several names. The Yankees reeled off 20 straight wins. Her skirt rode up when she sat down. I put a numbered ring on each bird's leg. The courthouse was ringed with police. He yelled so loudly that my eardrums rang. She was rooting around in her drawer for a pencil. It is a moral question at root. Give a man enough rope and he will hang himself. The National Guard roped him in for another 2 years of service. We all know she made a mistake, but you don't have to rub it in. A badger run. Oliver rushed after her. The water rushed in through the great oaken gates. Panic measures were rushed through Parliament. She's salting away more money for retirement. I salted away money from my summer job to pay for college. His jeep was discreetly parked behind a screen of trees. I can't see any other way to treat it. A betrayal of one's principles for reasons of expedience. Tickets for these spooky goings-on sell out quickly. The goalkeeper was sent off for a foul. I got an affectionate send-off from my colleagues. He sends the Prime Minister up brilliantly. He and his friends were set on by a gang. He was set on when he left the bar. Let's settle up for the dinner the other night. If the dispute was not settled, it was possible there would be strike action. He was a shade hungover. She stood in the hall and shook her umbrella. Add a few shakes of salt and black pepper. I do not believe he gave the industry a fair shake. I'll be back to you in 2 shakes. A team with more experience than you can shake a stick at. She has more troubles than you can shake a stick at. A man with more medals than you can shake a stick at. There were more snakes than you could shake a stick at. He fought for deregulation of the telecom industry. It took me ages to shake off the cough. She has shaken off a virus. He thought he had shaken off his pursuer. Which hand on a clock is the minute hand? It is a modern wall clock with quiet sweep second hand. Our sweep wall clocks are guaranteed to be silent. These watches have sweep second hands. An erect evergreen tree with a dense crown. The jump hour timepiece dates back to the 19th century. A jump hour watch is exactly as its name describes. The crown is used to wind a watch's mainspring. The crown is used to set the time of the watch. I'm doing phenomenal. A second hand that moves around the dial of a watch. The sweep of his arm took in most of Main Street. He's good at criticizing others, but can't take it himself. Whenever things go wrong, he always shouts and takes it out on me. I took it upon myself to make sure he got up on time. The dog's tail began to wag frantically. He looks down on his colleagues. He talks down to his colleagues. Education is aiding the take-up of birth control. Have you never sat a horse before? A sit in the shade. He returned to Venice to sit at the feet of Monteverdi. This shouldn't take long, just sit tight. We're advising our clients to sit tight and neither to buy nor sell. He was shot in the leg during an armed robbery. He shot at me twice. The end. Coming next. Session 101.